Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Brian Shields. This here, highly unusual to see something trying to develop off the coast of Africa this time of year, and it will nudge its way toward the Caribbean. What I want to do is go over all the computer models for you and what can change its path. I want to show you the steering conditions. I'll do that right here with some new maps in this video. Got you covered, and of course, get into that forecast. But you see this big blob here. Somewhere in here, we're going to see that area of low pressure developing. That is a strong tropical wave that has moved off. In the Caribbean now, one tropical wave sliding by Nicaragua. I want to get to some of the flooding we're seeing in some spots in the Western Caribbean and Central America. A new tropical wave just moved by Trinidad and Tobago, and then a couple more back behind it, but it is this one that does look like it could develop. Most of the models are still seeing that. I'm going to break that down for you. Hurricane Center kind of upped their chance. I was talking about this yesterday. They had a low chance. It seemed like it would be a better than low chance, and right now they've got that orange shading, which is saying, hey, a medium chance this does develop. So just super unusual, because this time of year, usually those water temperatures are so cool. I'll talk more about that in a second. They are warm. All right, so areas to watch closely. This does not mean, and I want to stress this, on this channel I do it for safety. This does not mean something is definitely coming at us. It just means to make sure we're paying attention to it, and if you hear anything about it, you have watched this video and you'll be able to share this information with others. Thank you again for sharing this channel. So late next week, this system that is developing could become Bret. As far as the track goes, I'm going to get into that, still uncertain. But if you're in Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, British, U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Montserrat over toward Saba, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, over toward Sint Maarten, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, towards St. Lucia and Barbados. You want to monitor this closely. Again, this does not mean a major system is coming at us, but there is something kind of nudging our way. We're going to do this plenty of times. Now, if you're anywhere from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, south through Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, we're just going to monitor this. But again, a little bit more of a heightened state just to the north in case we get a tropical storm nearby by late week. So again, Puerto Rico, I'm not seeing any crazy scenario out of this as of now, but I am seeing a system that could be a little bit close. Maybe it misses to the north, but just a heads up. So again, you could share this channel, and I'm just going to give you exactly what I'm seeing. That's what I'll do for you during the hurricane season. All right, so we get a look at the Caribbean here. This is the American model. Watching this, and I want to talk about some changes in the models from what we saw yesterday. Look how quickly the American model tries to spin this up. This tries to make it a tropical depression or a tropical storm late this weekend or early next week. Now, as the American model, though, goes out in time, you see it here. Here's again the Caribbean, Puerto Rico right here, Barbados here. It's not too symmetric. Again, it doesn't look like a classic system, so it may be struggling a little bit. That's what the American model is saying. And the American model wants to bring it to about a tropical storm, and then eventually by the end of next week, bring it toward the Caribbean, but there could be some actually weakening from it. There may be a little wind shear here. Wind shear would kind of knock off the thunderstorms, which is a good thing, and prevent it from developing. If it stays to the south, though, there's less wind shear. So if it kind of comes through towards, say, Dominica, that means it could stay a little bit stronger. But if it lifts to the north, which you see here, right there, the American model is showing, it's saying, hey, it's going to get stuck in some wind shear, and it may actually fall apart down the road. That's why I want to caution with all these things. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with it, just showing you what I'm seeing with this and why. And I'll get into those steering conditions in a minute. Here's the wind tracker. By the way, we've got some gusty winds in parts of the Caribbean. We've been seeing that. Winds in that pink shading, 56 kilometers an hour or 35 miles per hour. And the winds by early next week picking up near the Cayman Islands over toward Belize and Mexico. But you see that pocket right there of stronger winds? That is this system, and you see that spin right there, and that also means higher seas, so I'll be watching that. So as we get into Tuesday of next week, you see the winds in here, trying to show some sort of system right in here, and then as we go out in time, bringing you out in time, this is part of the American model as well. It shows some of the weakening from this system. So the American model now is saying, hey, it is going to develop, but down the road, it may actually fall apart. We'll see what happens. That is way down the road. The European model, here's the Gulf, Florida, the Bahamas here, Caribbean right through here. You get back here, watching this blob over here. Okay, so let me take you through the European model and what's that seeing. High pressure here. I'm going to talk about that with the steering conditions in a second, but let me take you out in time. I'll stop the clock here. I'll bring you into Sunday into Monday, and you see this system here, which at this point could be a tropical depression. The European model doesn't spin this up as quickly as the American model does. There's always going to be some differences, but pretty much the same as a whole, showing something trying to approach the Caribbean. Now, the European model, a difference from yesterday, which may or may not be good news, tries to take it a little bit to the north. It does make it a tropical storm, okay? So that's why I mentioned those areas that we need to monitor this. We need to monitor this in the Eastern Caribbean, but then the European model yesterday was taking it more into the Caribbean. It's taking it a little bit more to the north and kind of missing the Caribbean. Now, part of that's good because we don't need a major system or anything like that moving in the Caribbean. But on the flip side, we need the rain in spots. I'm hopeful that maybe this could be a weak system and get close. It would kind of stink if it's the weak system and misses us and acts as a big teaser, but it does have it develop. So the American model has this develop into a system, a named system, and so does the European model, but both have it recurving a little bit. And you see it here. Here's a closer vantage point. Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Trinidad and Tobago, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, and you see it again becoming a tropical storm. If this were to hold, though, it would miss the Caribbean and kind of swing back more toward the northwest. But these are just trends I'll be monitoring because what's happening is the computer models are still trying to get a handle on how strong this area of high pressure is. There's actually a couple areas of high pressure out there. Here is the Canadian model. Yesterday, the Canadian model was not showing development, and that's generally the same thing. You see, as we get into early next week, it is tracking this area, but it's not showing a whole lot of development. And in this scenario, this would be the good one. It's still kind of holding on to that. It would either bring a very weak system or just kind of some rain back to the northeastern Caribbean by the time we get into the middle and end portion of next week. And that would be a good thing. I would love if this were to happen. We don't get a named system, but we do get some rain. So we'll wait and see. So you see the different scenarios. They're all latching onto this. More of them are developing it, but as far as that end game goes with the track, that is still uncertain. So what the heck is happening here? Let me talk about the possible tracks. Again, the European and the American model have this kind of curving away. My friends in Bermuda, I'll keep an eye on you. The Canadian model has this working its way into the Caribbean, but not as a system, just kind of as a weak system. So what am I watching out for you the next few days? Well, if there's a strong area of high pressure, all you need to know about that, it acts as a block or a fence that would allow this to move more into the Caribbean. But right now, the European model and the American model are saying, hey, there's a little break in this fence and we may be able to swing this thing back to the northwest. But again, as I was talking about, this is a weak system. I would love for this to bring us some of that beneficial rain in spots. So those are the things I'm looking out for. Now, the next name on the list is Bret. So if this does develop into a name system, which the European and the American model are saying, Bret is the next name on the list. Now, let me break this down. Again, development is looking more likely. It's looking a little more likely that this will be a tropical storm. Now, as far as the track goes, it will be close to the northeastern Caribbean, but does it move in? You saw it yourself. I just showed you. That is still highly uncertain, so we're just monitoring that. The strength, nothing is showing this becoming a hurricane, so I'm always looking out for any changes, but nothing I see is showing this becoming a hurricane at this point. But those crazy warm water temperatures are out there allowing this to develop. And by the way, I just posted a video. Search EarthQC on YouTube. I posted a video on these crazy warm water temperatures and El Nino and what it means for the rest of the hurricane season. That's on EarthQC on YouTube. I'll put a link to that as well in the comments. So what's going on right now? Now, my friends in Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama, I was going through the comments yesterday. Some spots were getting a ton of rain, others not at all. And that is the issue. I hope I was clear about that yesterday, that not all of us are going to get this rain, but where we do, look at Nicaragua, for example, central and northeastern zones, more rain, while other spots are actually dry. So some spots are getting the flooding, others are just simply dry. Trinidad and Tobago, we woke up to sunshine, but watching again behind this next tropical wave for another chance of showers. But there's that closer look. You see again how some spots are getting it, others catching a break in some of the action. Panama, things are going to be flaring up again today, but it's kind of a developing area here that I'm watching. So very close call. So let me take you into this forecast and show you this weekend a couple things I'm watching. Again, still watching this kind of trend train of rain near Suriname and Guyana, and watching those spotty showers possible. St. Lucia, Barbados, Antigua and Barbuda up through Puerto Rico, but not a whole lot. It is so hot. The excessive heat warnings in place, Puerto Rico, for example. But this here is Saturday, and you see this flare up of rain. Now, the Cayman Islands and Jamaica, I'm watching how close this gets. Belize as well. I feel like this is going to be a teaser, and this is just going to be off to the east. But parts of Nicaragua seeing the rain tomorrow, and a higher chance Costa Rica and Panama. And where you get the rain, it will be very heavy, and we'll see that potential of flooding. Again, this is on Saturday. My friends in northern Colombia, watching out for some scattered showers to widespread, scattered in northern Venezuela and over toward Trinidad and Tobago, ABC Islands. Again, not a whole lot. Now, what happens on Sunday is this a lift to the north, and as I mentioned, still off to the east of Belize, off to the east of much of Honduras, but this may creep a little bit more toward the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. Still a wait and see, but on Sunday in Jamaica, we may see the rain chance getting higher. It just depends on how that develops. And it looks like this moisture is going to pool to the north. So my friends in Jamaica, early heads up, it could trend wetter on Sunday and Monday of next week. I'll be watching that. And you see how Nicaragua, some spots dry, but others could see upwards of 100 millimeters of rain. So definitely a big difference depending on where you are. Now the dust as well, that has moved in for some of us. It is dusty, it is dry. That is a big problem. Excessive heat over toward the Virgin Islands. It's hot and steamy as well over toward Trinidad and Tobago. We've been seeing that with some of that dust nearby. So Panama, the rain chance will pick up later. It'll be high tomorrow and then drop off a little bit as we get into Sunday. Watching out for areas of flooding. Panama, Costa Rica, and parts of Nicaragua, and just a couple scattered showers, Guatemala and El Salvador up through Belize and the Yucatan of Mexico. Rain chance 20-30%. As we work our way into Jamaica, Sunday though, a question mark. We may start off quiet and then see that chance of rain increasing like I was just showing you. Same thing, Cayman Islands, Bahamas, 40-50% chance of scattered showers and storms today through the weekend. Puerto Rico, the heat is the story. Thinking of you, please check on some friends, family members, especially the elderly, those that have breathing problems. We've been seeing some big issues with the heat. Same thing, Dominican Republic and Haiti. Dominica for us, rain chance 20-30% over the next couple of days. And we swing back toward Barbados, a passing shower storm. St. Lucia, a 20-30% chance of a shower. Trinidad and Tobago, rain chance creeps up a little bit through the weekend. Not a complete washout, but you see about a 60% chance of those scattered showers. There's at least going to be some rain nearby. So Central America tracking those areas of flooding. The Western Caribbean as a whole, seeing how that rain lifts to the north toward the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. I'll be monitoring that. Eastern Caribbean, watching that dust around, and again, watching that potential of the next named system off the coast of Africa, Bret, and I'm breaking down that further, kind of an expanded look for you if you're interested in the tropics and that system that's headed toward the Caribbean, why it is so unusual. I've got you covered there on Earth QC on YouTube. I'll put a link to that in the comments. So a lot going on, doing my best to keep you covered. I'll do my best to get to your comments throughout the day. I at least read them, and that helps me formulate kind of what information to put out in the next video. Got you covered. Please share this channel. Thank you for doing so. Have a good day ahead.